Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Prashant Kumar Sinha with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister reviews COVID-19 pandemic situation in the country, calls for speedy access to vaccines for citizens once ready. Drugs Controller General of India gives nod to clinical trials of Russia's coronavirus vaccine Sputnik V. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari proposes formation of state water grid in Maharashtra to overcome flood crisis in the state. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern's Labour Party registers landslide victory in general elections. And in IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore defeat Rajasthan Royals by 7 wickets in Dubai. Chennai Super Kings playing against Delhi Capitals at Sharjah. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today reviewed the situation of COVID-19 pandemic and the preparedness of vaccine delivery, distribution and administration in the country. The Prime Minister noted the steady decline in the daily COVID cases. 3 vaccines are in advanced stages of development in India, out of which 2 are in phase 2 and 1 is in phase 3. Indian scientists and research teams are collaborating and strengthening research capacities in neighbouring countries, namely Afghanistan, Bhutan, Bangladesh, the Maldives, Mauritius, Nepal and Sri Lanka. There are further requests from Bangladesh, Myanmar, Qatar and Bhutan for clinical trials in their countries. In an effort to help the global community, the Prime Minister further directed that the country should not limit its efforts only towards the immediate neighbourhood, but should also reach out to the entire world in providing vaccines, medicines and IT platforms for vaccine delivery system. National Expert Group on Vaccine Administration for COVID-19, in consultation with state governments and all relevant stakeholders, presented a detailed blueprint of vaccine storage, distribution and administration. The expert group, in consultation with the states, is working actively on vaccine prioritization and distribution of vaccine. The Prime Minister directed that the access to the vaccine should be ensured speedily, keeping in view the geographical span and diversity of the country. He stressed that every step in the logistics, delivery and administration should be put in place rigorously. Mr. Modi said the experience of successfully conducting elections and disaster management should be utilized in developing a robust vaccine delivery system in the country. The Prime Minister also cautioned against complacency due to decline in daily active cases and urged for keeping up the efforts to contain the pandemic. He insisted on continued social distancing, COVID-appropriate behavior such as wearing masks, regularly washing hands and maintaining standard sanitation and hygiene norms, especially in the wake of the upcoming festival season.
India has achieved a significant milestone in its fight against COVID-19 as the active caseload of the country has fallen below the 8 lakh mark after 1.5 months. The total number of positive cases in the country today stood at 7,95,087. They comprise merely 10.70% of the total number of cases. The active caseload was below the 8 lakh mark last on the 1st of September. The national recovery rate has also risen to 87.78%. With high number of COVID patients recovering every day, India's steady trend of registering dipping active cases continues. The total recovered cases stands at 65,24,595. 70,816 patients have recovered and been discharged in the past 24 hours, whereas the new confirmed cases are 62,212. India is the country with the highest number of recoveries and continues to have one of the lowest fatality rates globally. Today, the fatality rate stands at 1.52%. 837 case fatalities have been reported in the past 24 hours. The centre continues to support the state and union territory governments in the collective fight against the global pandemic. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has deputed high-level central teams to Kerala, Karnataka, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh and West Bengal. These states have been reporting a surge in the number of new COVID cases in recent days. The Drugs Controller General of India, DCGI, has allowed Dr. Reddy's Laboratories and Russian Direct Investment Fund RDIF to conduct Phase 2 and 3 clinical human trials of Sputnik V COVID vaccine in the country. The Sputnik V vaccine has been developed in Russia, where it has also undergone Phase 1 and Phase 2 clinical trials. The clinical trial in India will be a multi-center and randomized control study, which will primarily focus on safety and immunogenicity study. Earlier last month, Dr. Reddy's and RDIF entered into a partnership to conduct clinical trials of Sputnik V vaccine and its distribution in the country. The vaccine is currently undergoing Phase 3 clinical trials in Russia, along with simultaneous trials in the UAE.
In order to combat the corona pandemic, the second phase of the survey being conducted as part of the My Family, My Responsibility campaign is in progress in Mumbai. The second phase of the door-to-door survey, which began on the 15th of this month, will be carried out till the 25th of October. The campaign was launched across Maharashtra on the 15th of September with the objective of conducting primary health checkups, imparting health education and raising public awareness about COVID preventive measures. We have a report from our Mumbai correspondent.
The second phase of door-to-door survey is in progress in the Brihan Mumbai municipal areas. The citizens who were out of town during the first phase of the survey will be surveyed during the second phase. The first phase of the survey was completed last week, in which more than 1 crore people from more than 33 lakh households in the Brihan Mumbai municipal areas have been surveyed. The survey includes checking the oxygen level and body temperature of the family members and imparting health education and raising public awareness. At the same time, the citizens who have comorbidity are being registered separately, while the citizens who have symptoms of COVID are being referred to the municipal hospital for further examination. Several teams of volunteers have been formed by the BMC to survey the families in the BMC area, and each group has 3 volunteers. Each team of volunteers is surveying about 75 to 100 families every day. Sweetie Jain, Yar News, Mumbai.
In Maharashtra, gyms and fitness centres would reopen from the 25th of this month. Making this announcement, Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray said the standard operating procedure SOP will have to be strictly followed. Mr. Thackeray held a meeting through video conference with the representatives of gyms and fitness centres today. The state government has, however, not accorded permission to steam bath, sauna or shower. Besides, forms of group exercises like Zumba and yoga will remain suspended as per the SOP. He said precautions will have to be taken to see that health issues do not arise when gyms and fitness centres are reopened. Kerala continues to report surge in COVID-19 cases. The state confirmed 9,016 new cases today. More from our correspondent.
Malappuram, Thrissur and Ernakulam districts reported over 1,000 new COVID cases today. 7,991 recoveries were also reported today. Over 52,000 samples were tested in the last 24 hours in the state. The total active COVID cases in Kerala rose to 96,004. Meanwhile, 26 deaths were confirmed due to COVID, taking the death toll in the state to 1,139. Over 2,76,000 people are under observation in Kerala. Mayusha for AR News from Thiruvananthapuram.
The Telangana government performed the best among the 5 southern states in a COVID-19 performance index developed by the Administrative Staff College, the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, and the Federation of Telangana Chambers of Commerce and Industry. This was revealed in a study conducted by the trio. The infrastructure created for the fight against COVID-19 and others have been considered to reach the decision. Talking to AIR News, Director Health and Family Welfare Dr. G. Srinivas Rao informed that the state achieved testing 1 lakh samples per million population.
Our recovery rate is around 89.1% as on today, and also our fatality rate is 0.57% compared to our national average of 1.5%. So as on today, we have conducted more than 38 lakhs. Our test per million is almost a lakh, so which is a very, very highest number. And every day we are doing almost more than 50,000 COVID-19 tests across the state, especially for the early identification of the COVID and initiate the early treatment.
Dr. Rao further said a challenge has been thrown to the people of Telangana in the name of Who is Mask Maharaja to create greater awareness among them, especially in the wake of winter and festival season. As part of a Jan Andolan, he advised people to follow 4-step measures to prevent spread of coronavirus, that is, wearing of masks, observing 6 feet distance, hand sanitization, and to avoid crowds.
Now I want to, from the state of Telangana, we want to throw a challenge. Who will be the Mask Maharaja? So our Mask Maharaja will always wear the mask properly, correctly, and always clean his or her hands with the soap or with the sanitizer, and always maintain a physical distance of 6 feet while talking others, and will not or never participate in the mass gatherings or the groups. So this is a challenge has been given to our state people.
In Assam, guidelines have been issued for reopening of schools and colleges from the 2nd of November. The Elementary and Secondary Education Department issued guidelines to resume classes for students from the 6th to the 12th standard. The guidelines said a student could attend classes 3 days in a week with maximum of 20 students in a class. Attendance of students will be based on parental consent. On the other hand, the classes of undergraduate students will also begin from the 2nd of next month. College authorities will take a decision on staggered timetables. All COVID protocols will have to be followed while resuming classes in schools and higher educational institutions.
In Tripura, 162 fresh cases were registered for coronavirus infections, while 270 patients were discharged after recovery in the past 24 hours. Also, with the death of 3 patients yesterday, the death toll rose to 323. The latest state COVID-19 bulletin reported that the total number of infected people rose to 29,193 out of the total 4,26,748 samples tested so far. Officials said that so far 26,012 patients have recovered from coronavirus infection, while 2,832 patients are presently undergoing treatment. In the state, the recovery rate of COVID-19 has further improved to 89.17%. Noted actor Rajpal Yadav has appealed to people to strictly adhere to masking, social distancing and sanitization, which is the only safety available against coronavirus.
हाय दोस्तों, मैं हूं आपका राजपाल यादव। नवरात्रा की सभी को ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं। बस आपसे ये आग्रह करना चाहता हूं कि जैसा पीएम मोदी साहब का जो अभियान है कि कोरोना से डरने की जरूरत नहीं है, लेकिन कोरोना से बचने के लिए 2 गज की डिस्टेंस बहुत जरूरी है और मास्क बहुत जरूरी है, ताकि आप सेफ रहें और दूसरे को भी सेफ रखें।
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister reviews COVID-19 pandemic situation in the country. Calls for speedy access to vaccines for citizens once ready. Drugs Controller General of India gives nod to clinical trials of Russia's coronavirus vaccine Sputnik 5. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari proposes formation of state water grid in Maharashtra to overcome the flood crisis in the state. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern's Labour Party registers a landslide victory in the general elections. And in IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore defeat Rajasthan Royals by 7 wickets in Dubai. Chennai Super Kings playing against Delhi Capitals at Sharjah. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
अरे भाई, सुना तुमने? अरे इस मुश्किल समय में सरकार ने हम कामगारों की मदद के लिए एक और बड़ा कदम उठाया है।
कौन सा कदम?
पात्रता के नियमों में छूट के साथ ESIC ने अटल बीमित व्यक्ति कल्याण योजना के तहत मिलने वाली राहत राशि को बढ़ाकर दुगना कर दिया है। हाँ,
अच्छा, पात्रता की शर्तों को पूरा करने वाले जरूरतमंद बीमित व्यक्ति राहत के लिए ऑनलाइन दावा www.esic.in पर करें। अधिक जानकारी के लिए अपने नजदीकी ESIC शाखा कार्यालय से संपर्क करें या फिर टोल फ्री नंबर 1800-112526 पर कॉल करें।
चिंता से मुक्ति। चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें। मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे। चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं। मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे,
Union Minister Nitin Gadkari has suggested formation of a state water grid in Maharashtra to overcome the flood crisis in the state. This will help the state government to ensure availability of water in drought-prone areas and save resources to manage the flood crisis. He has also written a letter to Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray and NCP Chief Sharad Pawar and sought an early decision by the state government on this issue. Mr. Gadkari has drawn the attention of the Chief Minister towards the serious issue of heavy loss of lives and property that occur in Maharashtra every year due to floods. He said the floods create and trigger serious problems in different parts of the state, and there is an urgent need to chalk out a plan to manage this natural disaster. The government today said that paddy procurement for the ongoing Kharif marketing season is in full swing. Over 76 lakh tons of paddy have been procured from 6,69,000 farmers. The Agriculture Ministry said the government continues to procure Kharif crops at its minimum support price MSP from farmers as per its existing MSP scheme. The total MSP value till date has been to the tune of over 14,495 crore rupees. The ministry said the approval was accorded to Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Telangana, Gujarat, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Odisha, Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh under price support scheme for procurement of over 41 lakh tons of pulse and oilseeds. The government through its nodal agencies has procured over 723 tons of moong and urad having MSP value of 5 crore 21 lakh rupees, benefiting 681 farmers in Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra and Haryana.
In Bihar, the scrutiny of nomination papers of candidates is underway for the second phase of assembly elections. In this phase, 1,698 candidates have filed their nominations for 94 assembly constituencies. The last date for withdrawal of candidature is on Monday, and polling will be held on the 3rd of November. Meanwhile, the CEO's office informed that 143 nominations have been filed for the third phase of elections so far. 78 assembly constituencies will go to polls in this phase. JDU nominee and Industry Minister Maheshwar Hasari submitted his papers from Kalyanpuri Assembly constituency. The Disaster Management Minister and JDU nominee Lakshmeshwar Rai filed his nomination from Laukaha constituency in Madhubani district. Meanwhile, campaigning has intensified in poll-bound constituencies. More from our correspondent.
BJP State Incharge Bhupendra Yadav and former Chief Minister of Maharashtra Devendra Fadnavis addressed rallies in Munger with JDU leaders. Mr. Yadav said the NDA government has established peace and harmony in the state and opposition wants to sabotage it. Senior BJP leaders Nityanand Rai, Sushil Kumar Modi and Radha Mohan Singh also addressed rallies. JDU President and Chief Minister Nitish Kumar addressed public meetings in Kargahar, Dinara and Rajpur. Addressing a rally, Mr. Kumar said his government has given priority to education. In his rallies, RJD leader Tejasvi Prasad Yadav promised facility to Niyojit teachers like permanent ones. He also promised permanent job to Anganwadi, Asa workers and Jivika Didis. Pappu Yadav, leader of Jan Adhikar Party, addressed rallies in Jammu and Wazirganj with Vanchit Bahujan Aghadi Chief Prakash Ambedkar. He promised to build modern government schools to ensure quality education. Dharmendra Kumar Rai, AIR News, Patna.
Lok Janshakti Party LJP President Chirag Paswan today categorically stated that he will quit NDA if Nitish Kumar becomes Bihar's Chief Minister again. Talking to reporters in Patna today, Mr. Paswan said if his party is not voted to power, he will prefer to sit in the opposition. He reiterated that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is his ideal and his sole aim is to defeat Nitish Kumar in assembly elections. The BJP today slammed the Congress for questioning the abrogation of Article 370. Senior BJP leaders and Union Minister Prakash Javadekar said the decision of abrogation of Article 370 was welcomed by the people of the country. Mr. Javadekar said in the past 1 year, a lot of development has taken place in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh.
एक साल में जम्मू कश्मीर में कितनी तरक्की हुई, लद्दाख में कितनी तरक्की हुई, ये भी देखा है। फिर भी जो अलगाववादी है, उनके सुर में सुर मिलाकर कांग्रेस बोल रही है। कांग्रेस अब एक संकीर्ण पार्टी बन गई है और इसलिए वो देश की जनता के भावनाओं के खिलाफ लगातार भूमिका ले रही है।
Security forces have arrested a terrorist associate linked with terror outfit Lashkar-e-Taiba LET in Pampur area of Avantipura in Pulwama district of Jammu and Kashmir today. The arrested terrorist associate has been identified as Haris Sarif Rather, resident of Zafron colony in Pampur. A case under relevant sections of law has been registered against him and investigation into the matter has been initiated. Still in Jammu and Kashmir, advisor to Lieutenant Governor Farooq Khan today felicitated Basit Bilal Khan for his historic feat by securing 99.98 percentile in NEET 2020 exam. Basit hails from Narwa village of South Kashmir's Pulwama district and has scored 695 out of 720 in the NEET exam with All India rank of 188 with topmost rank in J&K. Basit today called an advisor at his official residence in Srinagar where he interacted with the advisor who inquired about his field of interests, strengths, difficulties and his approach to qualify the prestigious exam. The festival of Navratra, which marks the worship of goddess Durga, begins today. On the first day of Navratri, Devi Durga is worshipped as Shailaputri. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has extended greetings on the auspicious occasion. In Jammu and Kashmir, Shat Chandi Mahayagya, organized at the Holy Cave Shrine of Sri Mata Vaishno Devi, commenced today on the auspicious occasion of beginning of Navratras amid chanting of Vedic mantras and performance of other religious ceremonies. AIR Jammu correspondent reports that the Mahayagya, which is being performed at the Holy Cave Shrine during Navratras for peace, prosperity and health of humanity, will conclude with Purnahuti on Mahanavami. The Shat Chandi Mahayagya will be telecast from 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. daily from today onwards during Navratras.
The star-studded Ram Leela at Lakshman Kila in Ayodhya in Uttar Pradesh started this evening. Doordarshan is providing live telecast of the Ram Leela in Ayodhya from today. The live telecast, being done for the first time, will be available from 7 p.m. every day through the 9-day Navratri period leading up to the Shahra on the 25th of this month. State Culture Minister Neelkant Tiwari inaugurated the 9-day-long event by lighting lamps. Delhi MP Pravesh Verma was also present on the first day of Ram Leela. We have a report.
The first scene of Ram Leela started with worshipping of Lord Ganesha in Bollywood style of dance numbers on different songs and bhajans. 9 days long Ram Leela will be telecasted live in various languages across the country. Amid the COVID pandemic restrictions, Ram Leela will be performed without spectators but will be telecasted live on social media platforms and YouTube also. Many Bollywood stars are going to play different roles in this Ram Leela. BJP MP and Bhojpuri star Manoj Tiwari will play the role of Angad. Gorakhpur MP and Bhojpuri actor Ravi Kishan will be Bharat and Vindu Dara Singh will become Lord Hanuman. Raza Murad and Shahbaz Khan will also play different characters in Ram Leela. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In Andhra Pradesh, authorities of Sri Durga Milleshwara Swami Devasthanam have geared up for the 10-day-long Dashera celebrations at Indra Keeladri Shrine at Vijayawada. Temple authorities have started making necessary arrangements for the festival to be celebrated under the prescribed COVID-19 protocols. Some of the rituals will be streamed online this time to avoid huge crowds in the pious Durga Milleshwara temple. More from our correspondent.
Dasara is one of the most celebrated festivals in Andhra Pradesh in general and Vijayawada city in particular. The state government declared it as the state festival in 2015 and conducts the festivals in a big way. At least 10 to 14 lakh devotees visit the temple during the Dasara season to offer special prayers. But this time the number is estimated to be at least 8 to 10 times lower as temple administration is restricting the crowds due to COVID pandemic. Following this, action plans have been prepared for queue management in line with social distancing norms. Goddess Kanakadurga is decorated as Sri Swarna Kavacha Durga Devi today. Dr. G. Kondalrao, AIR News, Vijayawada.
Durga Puja is being celebrated in a unique way this year because of an unusual astronomical occurrence and the COVID-19 pandemic. For the first time in recent memory, there will be a gap of an unprecedented 35 days between Mahalaya and Durga Puja. This gap is generally of 6 days. A rare astronomical occurrence has created this unique situation whereby Devi Durga will be worshipped 35 days after the day of Mahalaya. Today marks the beginning of Devi Paksha. With this, the ritual worship of Devi Durga started in Kolkata and several parts of West Bengal from today. Rituals like Chandi Path, Chakshudan and Ghatasthapana are taking place in accordance with ancient tradition. However, due to the coronavirus pandemic, for the first time since the inception of its Durga Puja in Shobha Bazar, Rajbari in Kolkata, the people will not be allowed to enter to witness this historic puja. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern's Labour Party has registered landslide victory in the country's general elections. With 87% of the vote counted, Ardern-led centre-left Labour Party won with 49% support, heading to its biggest share of the vote since the 1930s. The opposition National Party slumped to 27%. With this, Ardern-led party secured a second term after her success in tackling the coronavirus situation in the country. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern's victory is regarded as the voters' reward for her decisive response to COVID-19. After the result, Ms. Ardern acknowledged her victory by interacting with supporters gathered outside her home in Auckland. Opposition National Party leader Judith Collins called the result outstanding and congratulated Ms. Ardern over call.
Startups and industries will soon have access to equipment and science and technology infrastructure in different institutions, universities and colleges spread all over the country to carry out experiments and tests that they require for their research and development. The Science and Technology Ministry said restructuring will help them carry out experiments and tests required for their research and development, technology and product development. 9 states and union territories have been selected for upgradation to Khelo India State Centre of Excellence, KISCE. The states and union territories include Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Chandigarh, Goa, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Puducherry, Tripura and Jammu and Kashmir. The Sports Ministry said the centres have been selected based on their past performances, quality of infrastructure management and sports culture in the state.
In IPL cricket, Chennai Super Kings were 144 for 4 in 18 overs against Delhi Capitals at Sharjah when reports last came in. Earlier, Chennai won the toss and opted to bat first. Earlier, in another fixture, Royal Challengers Bangalore defeated Rajasthan Royals by 7 wickets in Dubai this evening, tracing 178 runs. Bangalore overhauled the target with 2 balls to spare, opting to bat first. Rajasthan posted 177 for 6 in the stipulated 20 overs. Now a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The temperature in the national capital Delhi will hover between 17 and 35 degrees Celsius. It will have a mainly clear sky. In Mumbai there will be generally cloudy sky with light rain. Chennai will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Temperature will hover between 26 and 34 degrees. Kolkata will witness a partly cloudy sky. Onto the north, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, minimum temperature will be 17 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while maximum will be around 34 degrees. Srinagar and Ladakh will have a mainly clear sky. Gilgit will experience mainly clear sky too. Temperature will hover between 5 and 28 degrees Celsius. In Muzaffarabad, there will be mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature will be 12, maximum 29 degrees. In Dehradun, temperature will hover between 17 and 32 degrees. The city will have a mainly clear sky. In Chandigarh, there will be a mainly clear sky too. Minimum temperature will be 19, maximum 34. In Hyderabad, minimum temperature will be 22, while maximum will be around 32 degrees. Rain or thunder showers would occur towards afternoon or evening. In Ahmedabad, minimum temperature will be 28 degrees, maximum 36. Patna will have a mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature 26, maximum around 35. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister reviews COVID-19 pandemic situation in the country, calls for speedy access to vaccines for citizens once ready. Drugs Controller General of India gives nod to clinical trials of Russia's coronavirus vaccine Sputnik 5. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari proposes formation of state water grid in Maharashtra to overcome flood crisis in the state. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern's Labour Party registers landslide victory in general elections. And in IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore defeat Rajasthan Royals by 7 wickets. In Dubai, Chennai Super Kings playing against Delhi Capitals at Sharjah. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.